Hey there, so today I want to run through the application, the standalone application for Windows. So let's go ahead and check out the audio settings on that. As long as you see blue there, you're good to go. Let's make sure the drivers are set properly. Looks like they are. And this also has a MIDI in driver. Let's select the loop BE one right there so we can take MIDI notes from our DAW. And let's open her up. Looks pretty much just like the Max for Live version. Only difference is pretty much that you can't automate things, and also you have the audio driver settings and the MIDI driver settings here. Okay, let's load in a sound. We've got ambient loop 1, and let's just select a section. All right, let's turn off our auto note generator here. Let's make a track in Reaper. I want to drag in my all-time favorite plugin, the Swiss Army Knife Creator Destroyer of Sonic Worlds plugin. I love this thing. It's definitely, I think, my all-time favorite. And let's get some MIDI notes. We got to turn in the routing section. We got to set the device there. So now we can hear some notes. Awesome. Let's tame this just a little bit. I want to pull down the low pass, get some of that kind of old, muffly, old equipment type of feel. Nice. And the notes are a little bit too frequent, so let's play with these probability gates here. And that way, a lot more sparse on the amount of notes firing through the concrète tool. Okay, let's give it some release. And next layer, let's load in this prism loop here. We need to tune this with our first layer there. And let's set this to something a lot faster. Not sure if that's in tune with the other one. So you can almost get a bit of a granular type of feel by really tightening up the time on that. We can even set it like really high, and since these are all polyphonic, that'll play a bunch. You can hear where it's clicking because we're using so many of the voices. Well, let's definitely do something a little bit more conservative. How about half a second there? So we get a pulsy kind of rhythmic feel this way. Maybe just a little slower. And let's pitch this down. C3, how about C sharp 2? And let's give it some delay. Nice slappy kind of delay there. Let's also give this first layer some delay. I think I want this to be a little bit slower. Maybe 2 seconds on that. And cool. Okay, so I don't really have a ton of sounds on this computer. One thing I really love to do is just pull stuff off the interwebs. So let's get on the internet, and freesound.org, one of my favorite sites for getting sounds to play with. In order to pipe stuff into this tool, I think we're going to need to set, first we got to play a sound so it shows up on the mixer. I think we're already set good. Yeah, the output device, we want to set it to, I like VB audio cable. It's free. You can send audio between apps. So as long as the input on the concrète tool, and I believe it's set already to VB. Yep, VB audio cable. Very cool. Now let's find a sound. Kitchen percussion. Yeah, whoa, there we go. And kitchen Foley, that seems like a good place to start. Let's go ahead and hit play. Let's record. And we should see some stuff coming through there. Awesome. Let's stop that recording. We hear it while we record because this note generator is on. If you don't want to hear stuff, you just turn this off because this will play like sections of the buffer as you are recording. Just something to note. let's get some MIDI notes firing into that layer there. So I'm going to duplicate this track in cardinal. I need to pitch it down to be in the range of that layer. So I'm going to pitch it down 2 octaves. You'll notice in the concrète tool, these zone sections are set by octaves. You can change these to whatever you want. Just remember this zone bottom, it takes the C 3 note 60 with it, so you can further offset it with this number box here. And you can also click on a number box and use the up and down arrow keys to move the numbers, and hold down shift to get incremental. Let's make this 4 seconds. Awesome. Let's try a pulsy type thing here. I'm just gonna pull this sound we already used in and pitch it way down. Let's try all the way down on that actually. Let's take the sustain down, give it a little bit more decay, and try to see if we can change the time on that every 2 seconds. And maybe if we turn on the high pass and we bump up the res, let's type in here 40. Maybe we'll get a kicky kind of like thumpy sound. Yeah, there it is. So a little bit of a, you know, an ambient sort of pulse. It's kind of can be nice. So now that we have our nice, let's play with the LFO. We have our nice sketch going. You know, with the standalone app, one of the shortcomings, and this is, as far as I know, this is an issue, well, just the way Max has designed it. You know, it's interesting, you've got this snapshot system up here on embedded Max for Live devices. For the application, you can click on this, you can make a new snapshot. You see, there it is. And I could, if I make a change, you'll see that this turns orange, which means we made a change. If I hit the snapshot key, it saved it into this. So we can also, you know, we can make a bunch of these, and we can make, you know, lots of different changes here. Here's the thing that really sucks, that I really wish was not the case for, you know, I spent the day trying to figure out a way around this, but when you close down this application and you reopen it, it does not load these back in, unfortunately. So you only get this kind of one chance while the Muse concrète tool is open. So you want to use this output file recorder here, record this stuff to your hard drive, or, you know, use something like the VB audio cable, send out from the Muse concrète tool into, say, something like Reaper, and just record what you do in there. So for most people, that would probably work. I personally like having the snapshots to go back to, make changes later on, but you need Ableton Live essentially in the Max for Live device to be able to really leverage that kind of convenience. So, and the only other thing that I guess sucks for now anyway with this Muse concrète tool standalone application is you don't have the MIDI mapping like you have inside of Ableton. Also, you don't have the automation that you have options for inside of Ableton. So, you know, it's a bit limited, but you get all of the functionality at its root. So that's still pretty nice, I guess. So you just have to learn to work around, you know, the non-immediacy or the kind of destructibleness of, you know, having to you know, not have any of your presets saved or your sketches saved unless you record them, you know, print them down in your DAW. So not so terrible, but I personally would prefer something that's a lot more flexible and non-destructive, I guess. So I'm going to add, play with a little LFO here and get a little bit of pitch warble. That's like an old dying tape reel, you know, which I really love. And I think this Music concrète comes from an era where the equipment was like very unpredictable and had a lot of hiss and a lot of muffled sounding, you know, just the way the circuits worked back then. So I think a lot of the things built into this tool allow for that. You know, I even thought of funny things like maybe down the road I'll add like a noise section so you can add a little sort of output hissiness. We'll see. But anyway, I hope you get a lot of fun and use out of this tool. And even if you don't own Ableton, you've got a standalone application to play with. So hopefully this was informative, and happy sketching.